Are you?
Here we go.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. Before I go into item 2, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for our former city manager, Kate Devonshire, who passed away last month, August 17th. Thank you very much. This Saturday, the 13th, there'll be a celebration of life for her here at this location at 2 o'clock, if you'd like to attend. Item 2, adjustments to the agenda.
I have a few small adjustments. Under new business 6G, I'll ask for the scheduling of a public hearing on the modified general assistance appendices. Under minutes of previous meeting 7, I want to add the minutes from the April 9th, 2025 meeting, and I need to table the August 13th minutes, the last meeting's minutes. And that is all I have.
So 7F was what?
So 7, we're adding April 9 and removing August 13.
Do I have a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
I thought we were going to go all in favor.
Oh, you want to do that? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All opposed?
Gonna make,
I've got captions
no,
on my
can't have any
screen.
opposed if we all vote in favor.
Well, just for the record.
Can we hold for 1
No, we
second?
can't.
Yeah, I think the captions we're seeing here.
I thought we were going to try to make it a little more smooth for her.
Yeah, we were, but you wouldn't need any opposed when all of them are in favor, because nobody can oppose.
Just to the caption,
Did you
if
say
can
all
hear
in
me, we
favor?
have you,
Did you say all?
the web
Okay.
version of this
I missed that part.
up, and it was not showing on screen. Perhaps that's just not working. We do have captions appearing on the Zoom screen. We could move that over.
Yep, we can slide it, we presented it. How long is that, using my cable?
No, we can just drag this and put it over on top.
Oh, okay.
And we'll go from there.
So,
Technology, it is our friend.
With the permission of the attendees, we'll just continue. If you can just try to move that over, we will.
yeah.
Just drag Zoom on onto the other screen, and we'll go on from there. My apologies.
So the motion is passed, 5 all in favor.
Thank you.
Item 3, public hearings. 3A is to repeal the Eastport skateboard ordinance. This is a public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak for or against? Please state your name.
Ellie Norton. AJ, I knew you when you were a little boy, too.
Oh,
You knew everyone when they were little, Eleanor.
I was downtown with the thrift shop and with the craft shop. And the skateboarders drove everyone crazy down the sidewalks. They went over the park and ruined it. And I can't imagine having them back downtown again. I can't imagine anyone who has a store downtown would like that. It's even worse now because there's stores on both sides and trucks on both sides. It's hard to get through town. Never mind having skateboarders down there. You're not still skateboarding on your day. So I found it very difficult to even go out on the sidewalk. One day, the people, 2 women came up. The craft shop wasn't always that large. There was a hairdresser on the end, and 2 elderly women were standing back, checking each other's hair when skateboarders came down the sidewalk. And the only way to stop them, I got in their way, and they put me right against the wall because they were on cars, they were on sidewalks, and everywhere else. And there's always someone that will abuse it. So this is my first city meeting in a long time. Came to get AJ. And say, I'm really worried about skateboarders downtown. And so,
Thank you.
so there.
Anybody else from the audience like to speak for or against?
I have a question. Would there be any, I'm Jeannie Pager. Would there be any way to compromise and have the skateboarders permitted on streets that were safe for pedestrians, skateboarders, and vehicles other than downtown? Because downtown is impassable now. And to have the skateboarders is even more dangerous, but I would love to see some place where they could skateboard and socialize and do all the things that kids are supposed to be doing as opposed to being on screen.
Good idea. That's a good idea.
Any other comments from the public?
What about...
Please state your name first, please.
Oh, Dora Adams.
Thank you.
How about looking into getting some funding for a skateboard park? We could do, where the baseball diamond used to be, something like that, for them to be able to enjoy, but not be a menace to people downtown, because that would be certainly a menace. It's just a thought. I know the one in Cal's goes over really big. And so.
The one in Calais was privately funded through the Calais Skate Park Committee in the Brendan Liddy Memorial Fund, which I'm on both of those
But
boards.
is there any, grants or anything like that for?
There is, but
baseball use?
it's hard, and a lot of these grants won't donate to a city municipality. That's why we started the nonprofit in order to do so.
It's just a thought. But
Yeah, no, I like it. And there actually was land out there that was designated for a skate park at one time, and the Parks and Rec went in a different direction. But, so the whole thing with the ordinance, right, is that was put in 2001. It was a different crowd back then. That crowd's long gone. Most of them don't even live around here or skateboard anymore. That being said, the ordinance also states you can't bike, scooter, rollerblade, nothing, right? There's a lot of older folks that like to ride bikes. We have a bike rental place in town, so you can't go through downtown on a bike. So you can't do any of it. So you're kind of taken away from a business at that point. And not only that, I mean, the crowd's different, and the ordinance has honestly never been enforced. Maybe back when they first put it in, it was enforced for a couple years, and then nobody wanted to do anything about it because the police didn't side with it as well. I think we need to give it back to the kids, back to the community. I mean, does it pose a risk? Yeah, but so does anybody driving down through town. It's the same thing. I mean, and does the ordinance, is electric scooters and electric bikes on there too? Because, I mean, those are the same thing. And if they're under 50 cc's, anybody can ride it.
Yep.
So.
Is there a large amount of kids in town that do skateboarding?
No, and it's not a huge thing, and it's more about the biking as well. Like, people can't get out and get exercise and ride their bike through town; they have to go in different directions, right? And a lot of people like to bike downtown, go to a restaurant or get a coffee or something like that. And as far as skateboarders go, there's not a whole lot here in town. I can tell you that.
And some of them grew up to be counselors.
All of us grew up to be counselors.
Anybody else from the audience like to speak? This is a public hearing, it's your section. And I apologize, Richard, you were to announce who you were so that the captioner could capture it, so the people out in Zoom land knew who you were talking. That's the only reason we do that, is not to pick on people. Seeing nothing else from the public on 3A to repeal the skateboard ordinance, I'll move on to 3B to amend the Eastport firearms ordinance by striking section 2. This is a public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak for or against that item?
Could you state what the item is?
I will. So section 2 is, it says, it shall be unlawful to carry any concealed firearm in the city of Eastport in violation of the laws of the state of Maine. This ordinance is not intended to prevent the transporting of unconcealed firearms from the owner's residence to a repair shop for necessary repairs, transportation of unconcealed firearms from the owner's residence to an area where legalized hunting of game is permitted, or the transportation of firearms from a place where sale of firearms are consumed to the new owner's residence, provided that illegal usage of firearms during such transportation is prohibited. That's how I wrote it down.
Provided further that nothing is, the ordinance shall prohibit the carrying of a weapon, firearm, for which a duly authorized permit for carrying a firearm has been issued. I only had another sentence.
And for those of you that don't know, the state of Maine passed a concealed carry law, and that's basically why I recommended striking section 2, because it was outdated.
Anybody else from the public like to speak for or against? Hearing none, I'll close 3B. Item 4 is action on public hearings. Any action you'd like to take?
This is the council's part, right?
Right.
Well, most people know I'm a big-time bicycler. And I hit out the road bicycling, and it's a lot of times windy days. I would like to ride through North End and on the weekends and Saturdays or something like in the fall when everybody's gone, go down through town. So, you know, I would like to see that taken out of that ordinance, you know.
The bike.
Bike, skateboard, the whole works, you know. I think, like AJ says, it's a different crowd now. It's not, and people are riding scooters, and that's on there, and you know, and skateboards a little different today too. They, you know, most of them are battery operated. So I think, you know, bicycles for sure for me, but you know, I wouldn't mind seeing this ordinance go away.
I am also worried, like Eleanor, with the flow downtown. We've already identified that flow downtown is an issue. We've identified that the sidewalks are problematic. So allowing more traffic down there worries me.
But it's not more traffic.
It would be if we allow it. And it's not that they are prohibited from using it, it's just in that block of the downtown area. Brian points out there's 21 miles of road in Eastport. We're asking for a half a mile, to be clear.
But if you look at the thing, Rhonda, like I pointed out to you earlier, that goes way up to Key Street. You know.
Well, it goes up to Green Street.
Yeah.
It's less than a tenth of a mile up Key.
I mean, I can see keeping skateboards off downtown during business hours. You know, I can understand that.
So are you looking to amend at that point?
On the, with AJ's,
See, the thing is, I mean, no matter what it says, it's not going to stop anything, and that's proven fact in history at this point.
But when you have it there, if it becomes a problem, it can be
If it becomes
addressed.
a problem, we can put this back in.
Well, if
But
it's not a
it's
problem
not-
being in, what's the problem
It's
having
not,
it?
the thing is, the crowd isn't there anymore. None of the crowd is there. The crowd that was the problem back in the day isn't here.
I don't think, it's not necessarily addressed at a personality, it's addressed at the
No.
activity.
It was addressed to a
Because of the
certain crowd.
activity. And I'll tell you, my church has a metal railing in the middle of service. They would come riding down the railing.
Like it's been pointed out, I was part of the crowd back then, so I know everything they did back then. And I know why the ordinance was put into place. And the only thing that drew the skateboarders downtown was Overlook Park, which is no longer there. And the big thing is the little one wheels, those are technically skateboards, so you're gonna tell all the people that have those here in town that they can't ride those through town now? You can't ride an electric bike, because half of them are half electric, half pedal. You can't do any of it, according to this ordinance. So at some point, you really gotta draw the line and just let kids be kids again.
Gene, to answer your question, there is streets. The section we're talking about is from Sullivan Corner, here the breakwater, to the library, and going up to
That block.
Dana Street. It's just the downtown block. The ordinance doesn't say you can't take it out North End. If he wants to ride his bike up North End or his skateboard, he can. There's no ordinance against that.
Okay, so it's just that section, but I guess
Correct.
my point is, nobody enforces it anyway.
We haven't enforced it, but if we needed to, we could. We haven't,
We
and
could do a whole lot, Billy, that we're not doing it.
exactly. And do we really want to be that mean of a person? Is that what you're saying? I'm not saying
I'm
that.
saying, if you have a law, it should be followed, it should be
It's
enforced.
not a law.
There should be a fine if you're not.
It's an ordinance, it's not a law.
Then they should be reprimanded or whatever happens, and that doesn't happen, Billy.
Correct, it does not.
So why have it?
I just saw 2 bikes ride down the road there.
A lot of people don't realize that bikes on the ordinance.
Right.
I talked to a previous counselor that didn't even know that the bikes were on the ordinance.
Right.
And they were riding them through town. And it says it on the signs, and the signs are actually, it's up here, it doesn't start at Sullivan Street. It starts right up here.
It says in the ordinance.
It says in the
starts at
ordinance it's Sullivan,
Well, why is the sign way up here then?
because they couldn't get it in the ground.
Honestly, didn't know that was even a sign.
There's a
Seriously?
sign
Why?
here, and there's one all the way up by the
I
library.
have no idea.
Dennis?
An ordinance is in fact law.
Okay, sorry, I misspoke. An ordinance is law.
Well,
It's a local law.
I'm just saying though, if it's not enforced, if nobody is going to follow the ordinances or the law, and there aren't consequences for inappropriate actions, isn't this whole discussion fairly moot?
Yes and no.
Honestly.
Yes. So I guess we're still at the same, does anybody want to make a motion? Or do we want to not make a motion? If we get a motion and we get a second, we can have discussion and we can beat this until we're done beating it, or we can
I'll make
go
the
on to the
motion.
next one, or
I'll make the
whatever.
motion to appeal the skateboard ordinance.
To appeal?
I mean, to get rid of it.
To repeal, okay. Is it?
I'll
Go ahead.
second it.
It's been moved and seconded to repeal the Eastport skateboard ordinance. I take your comments very seriously, Gene, but I'm not sure whether stopping everybody on a bicycle and I guess writing them a ticket is beneficial to everybody.
But nobody has.
But no, well, I don't know whether anybody ever has. I mean, certainly not in my tenure on the council this time. But if we have an issue, we can fall back to the ordinance and say, look, we have an ordinance. It is in violation, so you need to stop and give them a warning. If we have no issue, no ordinance, then we have nothing. It's just like the person going up the road at 45 in a 40-mile-an-hour zone. Wait a minute. No, wait a minute. So we have no state law that says they're speeding, so we don't give them a ticket, but yet they do it. So it just,
I know,
Yeah.
I think it needs to be modified. I think that if there are vehicles that are really perhaps more unsafe than others, I see no reason why Dave can't ride his bike downtown. It's just, maybe it's keeping them off the sidewalks. Maybe it just needs to be
Doesn't
that
mean the flow of
modification.
traffic.
Well, then if you
That's the
can
same
take
for
off
every
and
street,
do
though.
grill pizza, but that's a whole different
Our
issue.
downtown, we've already identified as
Right.
an issue
I
there.
don't know, I think we need to have something, but I think we need to honor the fact that people are using different modes of transportation at this time, and that we need to take that into consideration.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I ask the dreaded question, maybe to our attorney? So if we repeal this ordinance and the skateboarder goes down through town and somebody backs over him, anything that we're responsible for, or is it too bad?
That's kind of between the victim
Vehicle,
and
that's-
It's a traffic accident.
And the person, so it has no city liability or anything? No, okay.
Be hard to imagine.
Well,
I mean, it'd be the same thing if it was on any other street and
Yeah,
someone
or-
ran over a skateboarder or a biker or,
yeah. Well, I mean, without any, yeah, I guess it'd be the same.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was enforced at one point in time, the first year. 'Cause
To
I
get it
remember
under control.
Chris Gardner used to take my skateboard and take it to my mother. And I had to go get it.
And then go back down through town
And I
again.
just go back to John. And he'd do the same thing.
They never charged you?
Nope.
Supposed to be $25 first time.
They never, I don't know anyone that's ever been charged any type of fine.
Yeah.
And like I said, whether anyone wants to admit it, the skateboard ordinance was for a certain crowd, and it was a rowdy crowd. And I could name every one of them for you if you wanted me to. I was in the crowd. I mean, I don't think I ever ran into anyone, but I know the people that did run into people, and thankfully they're not around. So it's something I wouldn't have to worry
If I
about.
may, I'll just say, so I was on council when it passed. I may even have made the motion, I can't recall. And AJ's pretty much correct. It was, I don't know if it was about trying to target a particular group of people, but we had a very specific problem downtown. And the advice we received from the legal and from the police chief was that there's no other thing for me to charge them with. It's not criminal threatening. It's not, anything, there's no other action. So if you want to take action on this, we have to do that. And it was a very loud and contentious meeting. And yeah, as I recall, we enforced it. And yeah, it was not our intention to make money on this. So we weren't going to take your $25. The intention was to get you off the street, and that was sufficient. And which is kind of the point of enforcement, right? I think that's maybe the broader point you were addressing, Billy, is the fact that there's the letter of the law on the books doesn't mean you intend to have so many police that every time that letter is crossed, somebody will pick them up. That's not realistic. We could do that, it'll triple your taxes, so we won't go that far. Let me just give you a totally wishy-washy thing. I have spoken with the police about this, and I'm of two minds. One mind is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We don't have a skateboard problem. Is it because of the ordinance? I don't know. But we don't have a skateboard problem. The flip side of that is, we don't have a skateboard problem. So why are we prohibiting people? We have this ancillary question of if the ordinance is potentially too broad or doesn't match the way downtown's being used right now. I'm a big bicycler too. I don't ride down on Water Street in the summer because I think it's dangerous. People back out of parking spots like madmen. But from November until it snows, sure, I go through there. The city does not have a strong opinion on this one way or another. Certainly, if this were to be repealed and we were to have a brand new crowd that's just been waiting for the chance to be downtown, yeah, I'll be back here real fast asking you to reinstate it. But as long as we understand that, we can live with whatever the council decides.
I guess I would lean toward more, as Dora indicated, that perhaps we should put a skate park up the road if that's what they're looking for, a skate park. I realize it doesn't address all of the points to this ordinance. The bicycles, the one wheels, the scooters.
Park and Rec was looking into it, but the funding was the issue with that. There's space out there to put one
Well, we had,
beside the Little League field.
when I was on Parks and Rec, we had a spot designated for it. But a lot of people don't realize the price on a skate park is
Pricey.
anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000.
Holy moly,
It's
seriously?
a lot of money.
And I
And
imagine
it's a lot of upkeep.
probably a liability angle on that. Again, if it's not gonna wipe you out, but you have to.
So the liability with it is you just gotta put up the skate at your own risk signs. That's
That'll
what we
cover
did
you?
in Callis.
Okay, fair enough.
And
I'm having a bit of a blast of the past. This was literally the conversation we had in 2001. when we passed it.
The more things change.
And I guess even more so to, I guess, cement my thoughts on it is, I really think that the city needs to look at making downtown one way. And I know we have the issue with the business owner at the end that we're trying to navigate through. But I think this is the wrong move. That's just my feeling. But nonetheless,
Well, I think the skateboard thing ought to be, if you're just going to vote it down, you vote it down. I mean, everybody's got a right to vote. But it should be amended anyway. We have a place here that rents bicycles. And there's a lot of people who use bicycles for transportation. You know, I don't use it for transportation, I use it for exercise. But, you know, you limit it to bicycles, electric bikes. And I think, you know, this is too broad, this ordinance, you know. And if, you know, right now we've got a police force that, you know, understands, you know, that, but if, you never know.
further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Motion carries 3-2 to repeal the skateboard ordinance. And 3B is to amend the Eastport firearms ordinance by striking section 2.
I move to make that amendment or adjustment.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 5-0 in favor of. Item 5, workshop on amendment of the Eastport motor vehicles ordinance.
I want to confirm, is this version of the ordinance what you believe you passed? Ella did not create a fair copy of this ordinance, or at least I can't locate it. This copy appears to be, I listened to the conversation, the debate from before, and I believe it includes the changes that were mentioned at that time, because I believe you had brought them to Ella in advance. The only thing that I will point out to you, we don't have page number, section 9. There's a very long discussion on violations, and you'll see there's a note indicating that there should be a discussion there. You ended up passing it as is, so no change was made there. I just want to flag that because this is the best copy we have, and I believe the other changes. I will say, Rhonda, you raised an issue about a potential typo, but you were wrong. It's the verb something in all to operate in all its moods and tenses. You thought that might be modes. No, it's moods as in a verb mood, as in.
This one also has 18,000 pounds.
And that was the one that we. Where's that? Let's make sure we're very clear.
Page 2 under C, low-speed vehicles,
And that's the 1800, correct?
I think.
Yes, that was mentioned in discussion. So I believe this is correct. I apologize for our confusion, but we all know why. And just, I'm sure.
So what were you thinking, AJ?
Golf carts.
It was the golf cart issue. Where
Signage.
we don't have any golf cart access roads.
Right.
So it just needs to be prohibited at this point, unless we're gonna put them in.
And then the conversation was out at Seaview,
Right,
correct?
because they use them.
Right. And
I mean, is there a way?
And it's not just across the road, they drive them on Norwood.
Yeah. I mean, is there a way that we can pass it for them to use them out there and prohibit it in the rest of the city? Because like I had said at that meeting, I seen somebody driving through Quaddy Village on a golf cart.
Really?
Yeah.
which isn't,
I don't know who it
which
was.
isn't an access.
There's no access.
Yeah, right. I mean, none marked. We're not,
There's
we're
no
not,
marked
we're not.
access
yeah,
right now.
Right now. Nor
Anywhere
are
in
we
the city.
interested,
Anywhere.
nor are we interested in purchasing signs to do that. I don't think.
Right, I mean, there just needs to be some clarification on, like, if you were gonna allow it on Norwood Road just for the Seaview and not the rest of the town.
Is golf cart access route a term of art in the statutes? Or that's, where I'm getting with this is, if I'm understanding correctly, all we would need to do is name Norwood Road and the associated road a golf cart access route.
Essentially.
I think so.
And there's nothing in here determining how you should do that. I don't think that should block us from, I would assume that, bring that to council. Make that a motion to declare this stretch of road a golf cart access route.
Then we'd have to put signs up, right?
Correct. There'd be some expense to that.
Yeah.
But
Not huge.
not huge, a few hundred bucks.
Right?
Why don't we ask the people that use them to
Right,
buy
the
the
owner.
signs?
I think you'd
I bet he probably would.
probably pay for that.
And that we can certainly ask, yeah.
Maybe we could ask.
But I mean, is this obligating us to doing it if he does not want to do it?
Well, that's it. So all it says is that you're prohibited unless it's labeled as a golf cart access route. And Dennis, I'm going to just generate ideas here. Tell me if anything's out here. One thing we could do is just leave it as it stands, and just assume that and that the council is the one that declares access routes. People can approach you, they can ask you, they can petition you, but you'll have to vote it on. Yes, if this area is an access route, that would obligate the city, could obligate the city to do the signage. I suppose you could take part of motion that you would ask for payment for the signs if a particular owner wanted it. I think we can keep it very loose and you would have complete freedom. If complete freedom makes you nervous or has you concerned about setting precedent, you'd want to look into amending this to say what the process is for nominating and accepting a golf cart access route. That
No matter which way it goes, the one in
I'm going too fast
Villages.
again? I'm
Right.
sorry. Thank you, folks. The later I get in the day, the faster I talk.
It doesn't get you home any faster.
I know. Actually, I end up talking more. So.
I know Florida's having really trouble with golf carts on
Yeah.
access roads. I was reading about that and looking it up. So, I mean, I think you got to be careful with it.
But I would also imagine you would have the right to revoke it.
Yeah.
If it became a problem, you'd say, we're going to no longer maintain this as a golf cart access route.
So are we going to designate Norwood as a golf cart access or make them come in and request it?
Well, that'd be the whole Norwood Road, and I mean, the guy doesn't.
Well,
his
doesn't
business
own the
on-
whole thing.
He doesn't own the whole thing.
Well,
He only,
correct me if I'm wrong. So if he owns the road,
he
we have
doesn't own the road, but
Right,
his
it's not like
business is-
Rossport
His business is down
on
So-
both sides of
on
it.
both sides, down the other,
I
at the
imagine-
lower end of Norwood.
I mean, you could, if you wanted to, if I'm understanding your question correctly, you could say, okay, from number XX Norwood Road, or the beginning of lot this whatever, to the east is a golf cart access route. In other words, you can make
Designated which
the route
part of the
whatever you
road.
want it to be. It's your discretion.
Yeah.
And again, where it's based here, you could certainly, nothing here says you have to ask abutters to the road to accept a golf cart access route. You could certainly amend it to require that. But at present, this is written very openly, that I imagine you would have complete freedom to do what you wanted to. You could choose never to mention access route unless someone brings it to you. And even then, it would be your approval. And Dennis isn't slapping me down, so I guess I'm not saying anything I want.
No.
Okay.
So same question, do we have them come request it?
I think that's up to you. And it doesn't need to, unless you determine you have an opinion on that matter. Where I'm going with this is, at this point, if you accept my line of reasoning, you have no need to amend this ordinance. You have the tools in place. And since you have now, if you believe you will never permit them, then you would want to strike this. Why would you even open the door? But if you would like to permit them, this then gives you cover for they need to register with us, that if they put a car engine in it, it's no longer a golf cart. That's paragraph 2.
My father's passed.
And then the requirements for, all the other requirements that are in here, which I think would be prudent to continue to hold. So if you have any interest in creating a golf cart access route, I would not strike this section, in my opinion.
I wouldn't want to hurt this man's business, or these people's business. You know what I mean? If he needs his golf cart for his business, there's no way, businesses are, we need to keep business going around here. I wouldn't want to hurt his business doing that.
So I think it would be reasonable for him or any other business owner who thinks they need golf carts to keep their business going to approach the city and request that any stretch of the public way they require be made a golf cart access route, and then I can bring it to council.
Yeah.
So are we going to contact him and let him know that currently he is operating?
I mean, I was going to say, I can do that. County budget starts tomorrow. So
And that's a mess.
that's going to be a big thing. But I actually don't have the contact information, I'm sure. But if someone just wants to tell me who to contact, I can certainly inform him of this discussion.
Okay.
Someone
I don't have it either, but I know someone who can
if
do
someone
it.
could get that to me after the meeting, I will follow up.
So are we saying no change at this point, or are we still saying?
That's, unless there was something else in there, if the only question was what age
I think
everyone
that
was
was the only question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
on there.
I'd recommend putting it on hold.
Okay. I think I agree.
And it's just a workshop, so even if you want to make changes, you'd have to go to public hearing.
Right.
Gotcha.
yeah.
Brian, I got to apologize. This double side is not working.
So,
Wow.
I was going to print it for you again, but you said it was okay. So.
Well, it is tonight.
I just need the agenda separate.
Hannah will be on board next month.
Yes.
I'll have a word with her. So, does that conclude the workshop on the,
Are we satisfied?
we all good with it? Just keeping it and letting Brian reach out to the one property owner and see where it goes from there? Okay. Item 6, new business. 6A is opening of responses to Realtor RFP.
We have received no responses to the Realtor RFP.
I'm shocked.
I've made a couple of calls today. This will not be surprised.
No, neither would I.
I had a very specific request from one realtor saying, well, will you be able to guarantee a release deed? And I said, we cannot do that. All we can issue is a quick claim. I was told that Callis was managing to do something. I won't give the whole story, but I spoke with them today. Yeah, not really. The realtor is really in a position where they need to try to find a way to market a property to somebody who's willing to take a dirty title. And they're not set up to do that. One realtor I spoke to refused to do so. We're not going to do that, she said. So, here's what I'm going to propose right now. I have to go back and read the statute, and if you're up on this, Dennis, let me know. But my understanding is, if I can get written responses stating that, from realtors saying they are unwilling to bid, if I believe I can get 3 of them, we may be able to request that we go back to the old way of doing things. I'm going to clarify that. I know there is some sort of release. I also know if you have a property list, I believe it's for 12 months, if the property lists for 12 months and doesn't sell, you're permitted to try to go to bid. I need to clarify all of that. So at the next meeting, I will report on what I think our action will be, but at the moment, we cannot move on any foreclosed property because we do not have a realtor.
Okay. Item 6B, accept resignations of Laura Pratty, Bertie Velveteen, and Lori Stone from the Disability Committee.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion?
Who was the second, please? I heard 2 people
AJ.
at the same time. AJ?
Yep.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please indicate. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Billy.
Yep. Oh, we're good. 5-0, Victoria.
Got it.
6C, putting out to bid the 2025 to 2026 winter sand. I think it went up to 1,000 yards.
We went up to 1,000 yards.
1,000 yards.
That's the only change from last year.
Hopefully
And that was based on our really icy winter?
Yes, and we are budgeted for that increase.
Okay. I move to put out to bid winter sand.
I'll second that motion.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please indicate. Thank you. 5 to 0. 6D, accept $300 for cemetery lot and perpetual care lot. Lot number 14, section E, from David Roberts.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please indicate. Thank you.
If I may, we require signatures on this, and you actually each have your own separately labeled line.
Item 6E, election warrant for state election and local elections of Tuesday, November 4th, 2025.
Is this standard?
This is standard. It's basically that we are notifying the city of Eastport that we are having an election on the 4th of November. There's one city council seat, 2 members of the school board, 3 seats in the Port Authority for varying terms, and the referendum on the budget validation process for the Eastport school budget. That's a normal 3-year thing. We can talk about that last item in more detail if you want to, but it doesn't affect your accepting.
Is that also when the bond for the county taxes
Yes,
will
but
come up?
we have not received the official notification on that yet, so there may be a second warrant for that question. Because I know they got that in at the literally in the last 2 hours before the deadline, and I'm talking with Teresa on that. So, yeah, we have not received anything. So it's the state and the local. When the county one comes on, we'll do this as well.
Okay, so we're just moving to accept the warrant
Yep.
for the state election?
Correct.
I make that motion.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please indicate. Thank you.
This also requires signatures.
6F, appointment of election clerks and ballot clerks for the November 4th, 2025 election.
Just so I can read into the record, these are the names we've had. These are essentially last year's names. I will state, if anyone is on this list and no longer wants to be, we have not had a chance to confirm with everyone, so this is sort of a maximal list, and then we may lack some people if they're unable. The names are Judith Turner, Judith M. Pugden, April Terrio, Christine Cox, Vicki Morang, that is a typo. Yes, that's Jeannie Pegram, Donna Thayer, Teresa Mealy, Pamela Deschene, Julie Leppin, Peter Fruin, Paula Bouchard, Warden, Gregory Lingley, the Ward Clerk, Lito O'Brien, Judith Peters, Cindy Mitchell, Jean Schild, and Hannah Zucker.
I move to approve the appointment of the election of clerks for the ballot check on November 4th.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please indicate. Those opposed? Those that would like to abstain? 4 to 1.
So 6G, I said I need to schedule a public hearing for the next meeting to adopt the state general assistance appendices. So general assistance is governed by an ordinance which changes fairly infrequently, but things like the maximum amounts for certain types of assistance are set by the state, and we adopt them each year, and we are required just to go to public hearing. So I'll have that prepared for you at that time and see what those amounts are. But this is standard procedure.
So we are just making a motion to
Schedule the public
hearing for the general assistance
appendices. For
I make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
That's for the October meeting.
Yes,
Okay.
October 8th, because I won't be here.
Want to change it so you can be here?
Then it would be November. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's... I don't think it's that important, is it?
It's not the end of the world. I think perhaps Billy's broader question is, should we change the October meeting to accommodate you?
Yes.
You didn't change the June one.
But you made it. You made it.
We can
You
discuss that offline, I suppose, but we should look at October.
For the October meeting. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate. Thank you. Item 7, minutes of previous meetings. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 removed. So you want to do them separate, or you want to do them all at once? It's up to council's
It's your call.
pleasure.
These are your minutes.
Well, first, we can say we moved to table the minutes from the August 13th regular meeting.
Yeah, that was, we can go ahead and do that as a formal tabling.
That's a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
So Rhonda made a motion to
Table minutes from August 13th.
7D. And
Jay seconded.
AJ, yeah.
Gotcha.
Sorry, Dave. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please indicate. Thank you.
And then move to accept the minutes from July 9th, July 21st, August 1st, April 9th, and August 18th.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please indicate. Thank you.
Just quickly, I will acknowledge we are very far behind posting minutes. I think I have them all together now, and in the next 2 weeks, they'll be going up. The minutes since I've been taking them, and this now includes the April minutes, are just a record of motions primarily, and refer to the recordings. We will be looking into getting a city YouTube account, and we'll start posting those in places so people who really want to hear what the discussion was will be able to. I would give us to the end of the year on that. Just we are going to have, I believe we're going to be migrating over to the new web platform in November. I think I told you this at the last meeting. We're kind of have to because our provider no longer supports our platform. So I'm not going to do a whole lot of work on that if I don't know how to get linked up. But we are getting there, and I apologize for us being so far behind.
But that's not a mandate, that's just something we want to do.
Yes,
as a
exactly.
courtesy.
Should people leave the recordings, we can certainly provide them. But I think going forward, these audio recordings, at least, it's easy enough to make them available.
That was an excellent segue into your report. Well, item 8.
Yes, I have a lot of things, but I don't want to keep us here all night. I will just touch briefly on county financials and budget, because I know everyone is now paying attention to it. That starts tomorrow. The public hearing where the proposed budget will be brought forward. This will be my second year on the committee. Last year, we identified this initial problem. I guess the problem was identified, but the root of the problem, I went into some detail trying to figure out last year, and I wrote a 15-page document. If anyone's interested in it, on the website, if you go into government and go to city manager, I just posted it out there now because I've had a number of people ask about it. But ultimately, I think we had bad information last year, but it was clear last year that it looked to me, I said I thought it was very likely we had completely depleted the county unassigned funds. I was totally wrong. It turns out, according to the county manager's most recent guess, we're $2.5 million in the hole.
Then where's the $11 million coming from?
That's a bond, so that's going up. It's a loan. We're going up to take, a loan from investors. I'm not in a position now to take a strong opinion on that, but I can tell you a couple of other things that have already been mentioned, but so everyone here can hear it. So the county operates on a January to December fiscal year, but does not require taxes to be paid until October 31st. And some of that, if not all of that, is the fiscal year is not in statute. I don't know if the deadline is. In any case, at least in the recent last 8 to 10 years, the county got used to taking out tax anticipation notes because of that long gap between when they started spending on the budget and when the money was going to come in. This year, a tax anticipation note had to be taken out in July, and my belief is it was essentially to cover payroll, that there was not much money left in the bank, $7 million. And because there's no money left in the bank, there's no money left to pay off that tax anticipation note right now. The county got into this problem for a number of reasons, but what I identified in that document was back in 2018, they began a process of basically saying they get to the end of the year and say, look, we thought we were going to spend this much, but we only spent this much. So we're going to carry forward all that tax that we didn't spend and use it to offset tax next year. This was a bad idea in a number of ways. They couldn't say for sure that that number was correct. And I believe they would do that year after year. And I'm not entirely sure of what mechanism they did there, because this is confusing, but one thing that appeared to me is they would say, well, we're going to use this money to offset taxes, and then they'd come into the year and basically say, well, look at all this money we have left over. I think it was spent twice sometime. But that's how you get to a $2.5 million hole. The intention, nobody, as far as I can tell, ran away with money. The intention was to keep taxes down. And county tax was kept down, in my opinion, artificially for 4 or 5 years. That there were increases in expenses as the state police pulled back from patrol, as other things got more expensive post-COVID, and as those expenses went up about 6 to 8% linearly over 6 or 8 years. For the first 4 or 5 years, county tax rose like 0.8. One year it went up 0%, even though expenses went up 8%. So you do that long enough, you run out of money. And that was what happened last year. Renee, the new county manager, saw that there was a problem, and we went into county budget last year with a 37% proposed raise. And that's what caused me to write my document that's out there, is how could this possibly have happened? And all she did, well, not all she did, but part of what she did was say, we can't carry over anymore. The county was carrying over $1.6 million on an $11 million budget. More than 10% of their expenses they thought could be covered by last year's taxes. The county had not been audited since 2020, which in and of itself shouldn't have been a problem, but the county, the commissioners at the time were saying, well, we couldn't know what was going on because we didn't have an audit, and yet they still felt confident saying that they could bring this money forward. So it's bad. It's definitely a bad situation, and I don't know where we'll end up on this. So my opinion, so the need for the $11 million bond is to cover the hole that has been dug. If you did this in your own checking account, right, that for years and years you were paying attention, and somehow you now have $20,000 in overdraft, you just have to go get money from somewhere else. The county has limited sources to get money from. It's from the taxpayers, from the towns, or they can take a loan, but they are not permitted to take a loan without a vote. So this is why it's a bond issue and why it will be on the ballot in November. Even if by some magic plan that they could find a way to get out of the situation without borrowing money, and my guess is that could require a triple-digit rise in your county tax. That's just a back-of-envelope calculation. But if you're going to try to dig yourself out of a $2.5 million hole on an $11 million taxation, yeah, you're looking at very, very large taxation price. If the bond issue doesn't pass, there's going to be a cash flow crisis. Because even if they come up with a way of trying to figure out how to balance or raise more money, the county is low on cash. So that starts tomorrow. The budget committee's job is not necessarily to figure out how to dig out of the hole. That's really on the commissioners and the executive. I believe the Old County Treasurer has resigned, and they'll be naming someone shortly. That should help.
How much of this is also the treasurer is elected? So there's no real requirement there.
I guess I can't speak to that directly, but you are correct. And I believe she's been in the job for 20 years or so. I could be wrong with that. I'd want to look that up before I say that.
So what kind of a jump are you thinking?
Well, that's what I see right now. So I spoke with Renee today just to say I need to have, if we're going to try to figure out what to do if we didn't take out a bond, we need to have more information. You know, when I come to you guys with budget, I don't show you bank balances and cash flow because we have enough money. That's a normal process. When you don't have enough money, and you're going to ask the budget committee how to figure out where it's going to come from. That's it. We're $2.5 million in the hole, we think. at least. That's a number.
Is there
that
a
we have.
current audit going on?
There are, I believe, yes, but not for last year at least. I know there were at least 2 years they were underway. And an audit at the county is at least 2 audits because it's all UT is separately audited. So it's a big job and it's been a problem. Plus, so last year they came in at 37% and that was a non-starter. They came back at 27% by moving some money around and closing out a couple of large capital projects. I'm on the record as having voted in favor of a 27% increase last year. I actually made the motion, but it failed. They then went back and moved some more money around, came in at 23%, and then the Budget Committee once more insisted to go down lower, came in at 21%. I will confess, as a member there, I didn't even look at the changes at that point. I was happy to go at 27. I said, whatever we can get to is reasonable. They zeroed out a number of lines that they thought were capital lines and were not. And for non-discretionary expenses like insurance. So the estimate now is that the county is over budget by $700,000. Add that to your 2.5. Yeah. Now, these are all, again, back of the envelope calculations, and Captain, I don't know if you've seen the county manager's synopsis, if you're going to write this up. If you write me tomorrow, I can get you something. Oh, you need it tonight? You need it tonight. Let me see what I can do.
Okay.
Because that's where I'm getting most of these numbers. And she'll acknowledge, I mean, they're doing the best they can. They're figuring out where they're at. But I don't know where we're going to end up on this. I personally would
So
like
if the
to-
bond doesn't pass, we're looking at a ginormous tax jump.
Or potentially something, can you shut down the county? I don't know how you shut down the jail. You got to feed those people. You can't just send them somewhere else. You got to pay for them if you send them somewhere else. I don't know what the options are now. I think we're in somewhat uncharted territory if the bond doesn't pass. If the bond does pass, at least we have operating money. That's a year's operating, more or less. You get operating money, so you're not going to, and the Budget Committee then can actually relax a little bit, because again, it's not actually our job to tell the county how to dig themselves out. If we can rely on the bond, we can then look at what are the level of services. The only thing we'll have to take into account is the payment on the bond. And like that $11 million number is assumed to be high. But I spoke with Renee. I'd really like to think we're going to need a good deal less than that. But you got to go to election. So there's no point in asking for asking a small amount and then realizing you need more later on. You can ask for as much as you need and you don't have to take it all. You essentially be saying it's up to 11 million and then you can take less.
Okay.
But it's all a moving target right now.
So what I'm gathering out of this, your conversation, it's going to take years to dig out of this.
Oh, yes.
Years and years.
I believe they're talking right now, they're looking at an $11 million bond for 10 years. I don't know what bonds are going out right now. It's interest rates are low, but not super low like they were before. I believe the tax anticipation notes is at 5 point something. So that's what I've been using as I look at it. So, and you can just do the math. 11 million, your minimum payment is $1.1 million a year, even if you weren't being charged interest.
So my son, in full disclosure, is a sheriff's deputy.
Yeah.
He says if this bond doesn't pass, we're looking at about a 70% increase in taxes for the county.
Okay, he and I have, at the back of the envelope, I was saying 100 just because, I don't know, maybe, because it's easier to figure.
What percentage of that would come to Eastport?
Well, so we currently pay 400 and something, it's right around $400,000. So you can do the math. If you're going to do a 70% increase on $400,000, it's another $280,000. That is divide.
Bunch of
That's a
percentage
7% increase to your taxation
without
before we
doing
raise it to the
anything
dollar.
in the city.
Before we raise it to the dollar, yes. One thing that may be discussed is trying to change the way payments occur. The problem is, again, so the way the fiscal year doesn't line up is a problem, and I don't know why it wasn't dealt with before, because if you're going to go 10 months between your budget and your taxation, you need to have at least 6 or 7 months of surplus. That's a lot of money, probably more than you want to sit on. We only sit on 14 weeks because ours is so much shorter. One could say maybe you just need to change your fiscal year. It's not pretty, but it can be done, and so that would match up. But we don't have the freedom to think about how will we fix this next October or this coming July. If we're looking at potentially the early part of 2026, there won't be any cash left. One potential solution might be to ask the communities to essentially pay their county tax in February, even though it's only due in October. Everyone kind of have to agree to that to make sure we get cash flow. let's just assume that, let's say county tax, we do that, and county tax can stay flat. That just means that is, however, a $400,000 expense in this fiscal year I haven't budgeted. Because we always pay, in October. So it's budgeted in October. Now, that's the only way out of it. And it would save us, I could do the math, it would save us a lot of money, probably close to $1 million in interest over the life of the loan. Now, would the council entertain a supplemental tax bill in January to raise money for county tax? These are the kinds of questions we're going to be asking.
Wow. And nothing we can do about it.
No, I don't think we can put anything more on the backs of the people of Eastport, I'll be honest with you.
It's, and I guess step back with one more thing. One of the things that, in last budget committee, there was some talk about potentially cutting some positions in the county. And I opposed that because I said no one was making a case that the county was delivering too much or unnecessary services. And we kind of couldn't at that point. Because it's not like you just can cut stuff out and not have an impact on services. If we're going to cut it out, we're going to have to say, this is what you are going to lose. The underlying problem, as I said, is that expenses have risen between 6 and 8% year on year from 2018 until now. Because, and this is my opinion, because people on certain boards can, as long as you come back with a low tax increase, people won't ask you how or why. Right. And so, by keeping that tax number low, in addition to causing a structural problem, which I don't think they realized they were doing, they hid the underlying issue. If you had been seeing county tax rising 7% a year from 2018 until now, you might have had a more productive conversation about what your services were, why you were paying for them, and if it was worth it or not. Knowing that we've had problems with the state and support there, we might have had a more effective way of representing ourselves to the state. If we had been saying, year on year, this is going on, here's some solutions. Instead, we're faced with this ugly balloon. Now, maybe things will be ugly enough that the state will come out and help us. I'm not laying money on that bet.
I wouldn't lay it there either.
So that will be my fall. And I will let you know what's going on. If people want to get into the weeds, I'm more than happy to. I find this to be kind of interesting. And I will point out, I represent this district of the county, so it's not just Eastport, but of course I also speak for Eastport. If it comes to the question of cutting services or whatnot, that's where things might get tricky, because there are certain ways of cutting services that Eastport can handle better than the rest of the county and vice versa.
Do we need to have an update on this before next month? Or if you're meeting with them tomorrow, do we need...
So the hearing is tomorrow. I believe pretty much all that happens is the official budget gets presented. I believe we are going to have to hold, and Dennis, you might be able to, I'm trying to remember, is there some sort of hearing that has to be held in advance of the bond issue? Renee said something like that, but we were talked past. I will let you know. So I don't know if there's anything formal for us to do.
They certainly have to, the commissioners will have to approve putting it out there on the ballot.
I mean, they did whatever they had to get it on the ballot on the August deadline. So
they also have to deal with the bond bank, and there will be all kinds of different votes for that.
Okay, I think that may have been, so, and I guess part of that's what, I will certainly report back to the council about what's being said, and to get your opinions about where to go with things. But frankly, so I'm laughing just because I went to county budget last year. I've been in this job for 6 months. A lot of people who have been in the budget committee have been there for years. I figure I'll just sit here and learn. And instead, I had to plunge into all this other stuff. Because of the nature of the problems I addressed last year, I didn't really look at questions about individual departments. The problem was too big. You weren't going to solve what we had last year by, cutting a general line somewhere. Turns out we actually cut too much in the zeroed lines that shouldn't have been zeroed.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right. So going forward, you have to trust the taxpayers and the public to understand what the cost of the services they're receiving are, and not try to hide that under the name of reducing taxes, because ultimately I think that's really the problem here. Nobody meant to do anything bad. They were trying to do things right, but all they were focused on was that number at the end of the day. And it turned out there were a lot of numbers underneath that number, which was exhausting your bank account. So, well, that was a downer.
Indeed.
I have some other things to talk about. Summer is over. Yay. I mean, whatever. It was a wonderful summer, but it's a lot of work for us. We do still have cruise ships and some festivals to come. No, I'll just leave that there. I think everyone knows what's going on there. If you have questions about what's going on with cruise ships, you can approach me later. We're going to, I believe, in the next couple weeks, make some minor adjustments to the appointments at City Hall. We are going to continue to ask for appointments for BMV, boat, ATV, vehicle registrations of all kinds. It's just there are too many potential complexities. Poor Hannah had to deal with an out-of-state lease for the first time, and it took us over an hour just because it's complicated. And I could, again, anyone wants to hear the details, I'll tell you. We think it's worked way better for us because we can, if someone says, I've got this complicated thing, we set an hour aside for them. And so nobody has to stand in line. For at least the next few weeks, vital records will also be by appointment. Keeping in mind, if all you need is a copy of something older, you can go online for it. Vital records can be ordered online. But right now, only Teresa Porter, who's working with us on a consultant basis, knows all the ins and outs of vital records, but that's where Hannah was today. So I'm hoping in a couple of days she'll be able to pick that up. Payments, general inquiries, licenses, I'm trying to think of anything else. You're welcome to come in without an appointment. You can always drop your payments off in the little slot next to the front door.
Not the drug box.
Not the drug box and not the ballot box. Sorry, we'll try to get some better signage in there. Yeah, and if you want appointments, certainly call for them. But we'll try to get there. I'm going to guess until we get a little bit further into understanding our staffing, we're going to stay on appointments for BMV for a while yet. But everything else should get better. I guess I do want to address quickly, at least, because I had a few more things about this today. There's been a lot of talk and concern about issues with public access, public water access. I guess I'll mention directly, we had an issue with that Warren Street right of way was blocked off for a while. So the city has a list of all the places where we believe you can get to the water. Not all of them have been signed in the past, and that not all of them have signs right now. And we have some questions about, now that I've gone and examined them, about some of these right-of-ways, about exactly where they're located, where the city has rights and where it doesn't. We're going to spend a bunch of the winter getting this all together, and we're going to produce a document for both the public and the property owners that states what the city believes it owns and what its rights are on each of these. Warren Street is currently open again. I will say, when it closed, I didn't jump on it right away. The gentleman was doing a fair amount of construction for which he had his state permits, and I thought there was a safety issue. I didn't see any upside in causing trouble right then. It is open again. However, I do need to state that a right-of-way to the water is, by state law, just a right-of-way to the water. It's not permission to walk in the intertidal zone. It's not permission. You certainly can't walk on the beach if it's private property. I'm not going to get into all the minutiae of that. I can show you the state thing. The University of Maine put out a white paper on this. Most people are pretty reasonable about it, but I want to make sure all we can guarantee is that you can be in that right-of-way to get to the water. If you are in the intertidal zone, it's fishing, fouling, and navigation is the line from the 1600s, I believe.
Massachusetts ordinance.
The Massachusetts law. So I just leave that to you right there so that we respect the rights of the people who own the property, while reassuring you that we will, in fact, assert what rights we have on the rights of way to ensure that they're kept open. And we'll try to do a somewhat better job of...
Also doesn't include parking.
Yeah, you can't park unless it's city land. There's a couple of places where there might be some city land you can park in. And again, what we need to do is, we have a list of all the rights of way and where they were declared, but we have a map and a list of documents, and that's it. We need something a little bit clearer so that everyone understands what the assumptions are.
And the history of people saw on Facebook a lot. When I was a kid, I roamed that beach. Well, it might have been the people who wanted you there and didn't mind. It doesn't mean you had a legal access.
Okay, then, two more quick things, I'll be done. Marion Transfer, I haven't reported on this in a while, I've been going to that for a while. Marion Transfer's in good shape, there's actually a decent capital reserve, not enough to buy anything significant, and they will be going back when I first got on, I was told if you don't go to Marion Transfer meetings, they're going to raise your rates, and that was a policy they had in place, but it hadn't been enforced. They are going to be enforcing it again, but we talked about it last night. I have asked Howie to be my deputy, just in case I can't make it for anything, but I don't think we should be too worried about that. I was going to ask, Down East EMS has its quarterly meeting in September, and there's kind of been a go-around talking about, at some point we will have to raise the stipend. I don't think it will happen at that meeting, because there's some government funds and whatnot that have to be figured out, but I will be out of town that day. So if a counselor would be willing to serve as a deputy representative, it's 4 o'clock in Medi-Meds on Monday the 29th, I believe, is Monday. You don't have to commit to that now, but I want to put that out there. I think that's enough. Anything you had hoped I would mention?
I would like you just to remind people that they do have the option of going online to do re-registrations,
Yep.
registrations, ATV registrations.
Yeah. I'd have to go, I know the BMV one really well because I've walked a couple people through it. The Inland Fisheries and Wildlife one I'd have to double check. And I will look at the website. I believe we've got the links in a place you can find them. But if not, you can certainly just search, Maine automobile re-registration will take you right there. And again, vital records that, you can't get marriage licenses online, but you can get copies of birth certificates, and you can get tested copies. It costs you a little bit more, but you can get it.
Anything else?
I think that's it, yep.
Everything okay? Item 9, council liaison updates and issues.
I feel like I'm a liaison issue.
Here.
I don't know what's happening with your committees.
I know. 2 committees up, 2 committees down. We have, I will mention as a somewhat concern, we now have Park and Rec that has 2 existing members on it. We have Disability that has 2 existing members on it. We have Age Friendly Committee that has never actually been dissolved. So do we leave these just hang? There is nothing in our policy, our committee policy or procedure or whatever we call it, that states a minimum number. It only states a maximum. But do we call 2 people a committee?
This is your call, obviously. Yeah. I feel like we've talked about how the policy document is inadequate, or even incorrect, based on how we're doing things. We have some committees that are functioning and need to continue to function, so I don't think we should just suspend everything. My opinion is we have 2 committees which, for a variety of historical reasons, don't really have a proper quorum. It would be my preference to dissolve them so we no longer have that overhead. And then you can always reconstitute them. I would ask when you did so that you give them a clear scope of work. So that if it is intended that they run until the end of time, that's clear. Or if the intention is to give them a specific task, that you know when that task is complete. I think that's been a problem both for the city, but also for the members of the committee who become frustrated and upset when they feel like their work isn't being recognized because, for whatever reason, the council chooses not to pick it up. It would be better if they knew what they were supposed to be achieving, and then you could work with them on it. And since neither of those committees are structured that way and are not functional, I would say you do well to dissolve them now, then reconstitute them properly at a later time. My opinion.
So is that something we need to put officially on the agenda, or?
You are never required to put anything on an agenda except a public hearing. It's your call whether you'd like to have it on there first, but you can at any time make a motion if you want to. That's how your rules work.
And did we ever find anything out about the age committee? It existed on our comprehensive plan,
I believe it was created as part of the comprehensive plan effort and was just abandoned tacitly when the comprehensive plan was complete, that no one said so, but it seems to
Should
be
that
at
also
point.
be dissolved?
Yes, I would suggest that as well.
And if a subcommittee exists under a now defunct committee, does that continue?
I do not believe that. The only thing I'm aware of is the fiber committee has a digital equity component. Is that what it is? And I believe it is continuing merely to close out some work on a grant, but I haven't actually heard from them in a while. So, but the energy committee is continuing to work, actually, because they've got a new set of window dresser stuff and that going on. So I would suggest in the future that that your committee document state that, you know, we don't create subcommittees. I don't believe the committee should have that power in any case, only because it's a management nightmare. I mean, if there's really a scope of work that's so significant that it needs another formal body to vote on it, you probably need another committee. That would be my opinion.
I think we need to add the housing committee too, because they haven't been able to take off for a number of reasons like that.
That's your call. I know they did have a meeting where they attempted to put together their purpose, actually, and I'll be honest, at this meeting at least, I kind of felt like I wanted to dissuade them because I think that's putting the cart before the horse, but it is what our document says.
It is.
So I chose not
Absolutely
to
is.
intervene.
So do we want to move to dissolve these committees now or put it on the agenda and allow people to have a say in it?
Since the housing committee has a quorum, it's up to you. They don't?
They haven't had a quorum for the last couple of meetings.
People haven't shown? Then in that case, I feel like it's your call, but I wouldn't object.
So if I make a motion to dissolve the Park and Rec Committee, can we do that?
Yep. Sure.
I make a motion to dissolve the Park and Rec.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate. Any other motions?
I motion to dissolve the Disability Committee.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate. Thank you.
I move to dissolve the Age Friendly Committee.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, please indicate.
I'll let you make the one on the housing.
I'll make a motion to dissolve the housing committee.
I second it.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, please indicate. Victoria, were you able to keep up?
I got it.
Thank you. There was four of them, right back to back to back.
I will endeavor to notify, as far as the housing committee, the disability committee, and the parks and rec, the people I know who are still on those committees, that this has occurred.
Well, there's
There's
only-
been no activity with the parks and rec committee since the massive resignations. And the last disability committee meeting was, since they actually had not resigned, maybe they sent something to Ella, I don't know, but they resigned amongst themselves. I don't know, neither of them will be surprised, but, are you liaison to housing, Colleen?
Yes,
Do you have like an email list for them?
I do, yeah.
Would you be willing to notify them as liaison?
I will.
Just to be fast.
I did give them a heads up about dissolving.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right.
Other council liaison updates? Wow, you got off of 2 committees just like that.
Look, I am the kiss of death. Next year, if I take a committee, they're going to be terrified.
Got anything good?
No, we didn't have a meeting of the planning board this month, and we're going to have a meeting on Monday.
You're good, Colin?
I'm good.
Okay. I was able to get to the senior meeting yesterday, first one in about 4 months. The senior center is coming along. I'd say we're probably 80, somewhere in that range. We're getting to the point of cleaning it out, wiping everything down, painting it, and then getting the floor done and putting everything in. It did pass inspection, so the kitchen is done. I would say that the group is eager to get in, and Donna, our treasurer, was there yesterday, and I thought she brought up some very good points about dates. let's get dates and commit to it and get there. Other than next week, the week after. So I think things are moving along. Some of the things I was able to get done last night, but it is coming. It's moving along. And I guess that's it.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is the kitchen going to be like state certified, so
It is.
like people could lease the space
Rent
to
it out.
cook
It is,
stuff?
it is.
Oh, good.
I think we have the is it Santa Safe? I think Karen's the only one that has a license, so she has to be there unless somebody else has a Santa Safe license. They can go in, like maybe the school's Dana may have one. He may be able to go out there and have a function. I don't know, we're having some questions. I thought that it was very good to mention about the kitchen having locks on the cupboards, because if you do lease it out to somebody else, things disappear. It's still much a work in progress, and they just basically, I think Karen Terrio was going out today to start getting the kitchen set up, because there's still things that have got to get moved around, placements of shelving and different things, but it's coming. It's well on its way. I honestly hope that we were already in there by now, but we're not. May was a long time ago, but it takes time, nonetheless. And that is all I had. Airport, I did attend that one Tuesday. That's coming along, and thank you, Victoria, for the budget numbers. I really haven't dug into them deep yet, but I will. I know there's some issues there with some overages and cross payments and different things on the furniture side of the house, and the group is doing a great job. The committee really is. And the new hangars are up, and I did see a picture today. I haven't actually gone down on the tarmac and looked at them yet, but I will. I'm certain I will. But that is coming. And that concludes me.
I got a question for you.
Sure. Whoops.
You represent us on the port.
Yes.
Because my head's spinning about the county budget and all this, and I know we're doing audits with the city. Does the port do audits too? Because I know the port director was here at the last meeting, and he said if the port went under, it falls on the backs of the citizens of Eastport. So I just want to make sure there's no more surprises.
Chris just put out, I believe we're through 23 and 24, and we're just
Right
waiting
now,
for the auditors to finish their work.
Right.
But all that's been done.
So that's been done.
Yeah,
So we're
they
good,
haven't done the
we're
final
good there.
report. And same thing with us, actually. We're waiting on, we've had
Yeah.
23 and 24
Yeah.
sitting with our auditor, and we're just waiting
Yeah.
for them to produce a report.
Yeah.
And I have seen a document, and we didn't have a Port Authority meeting last month, but I have seen a document, and I know Chris can provide it again. But if the Port Authority goes belly up, it is not on the residents of the city of Eastport.
I thought he said that at the last
No,
meeting.
He did
it
say
isn't.
it.
He did say it, but that's not accurate.
Okay, I thought I heard him say that.
So if it
I
goes
think he did
belly
say
up,
that.
what happens?
It's like any other entity that goes belly up. It's not up
Liquidated.
to anybody, it's not necessarily up to the city to bail it out. I suppose if the city wanted to, the city could bail it out. But also the idea that it belongs to the people of the city of Eastport is also inaccurate. It belongs to the people of the state of Maine.
Right.
Right.
Okay. That makes me feel a little, no,
And-
my head's just spinning because of, this
Right.
county thing. I just want to make sure that our audits
I
are up
asked
to
the
date.
same thing in private.
And I think the financial situation of the port is in much better shape
Good,
than the city or the county.
good. Good, tar
I'm
some
hoping-
roads in.
I broached that last month. He was not biting.
All right. I conclude that. We're on item 10, public open forum. Anybody from the public like to speak? Whoops. Either one. Jean first, I guess.
I'm Jeannie Pegram. I went to Brian because I wasn't clear last month on the police chief and his qualifications. he slowly explained to me the difference between the blue pin and the green pin qualifications. Major differences being with the green pin, he cannot be involved in a high-speed chase. He cannot preside over a dead body in any kind of murder situation. And he's limited to 1,200 hours annually of on-the-road time.
Actual police work.
Correct.
Well, not even actual police work, because his paperwork is also an integral part of his job.
It is, but it doesn't count against the
Right.
green pen hours.
It doesn't what?
It does not count against the green pen hours.
Right. My concern is that if we continue to be in a situation where we have ongoing crazy speeds going down 190, that of course when we've got the ships coming in, not the cruise ships, the cargo ships, I have never, categorically never, seen a speeding ticket issued in the city. I don't know if they have. I have heard that if they issue a ticket on 190, it just goes to the state. It doesn't stay with the city, and I don't know that. I just know that the only time I have ever had an interaction with a policeman in the city of Eastport was when I followed a tractor trailer from due east. It went by my house at 58 miles an hour and proceeded down past Willie Suddy's house, which is in a 25, at 42. I was so angry that I followed the truck right down to the border, not seeing the sign that I was violating and trespassing on federal land. When he pulled into the driveway, Don looked and he said, "Oh, this is for you." And the policeman came and told me that I could be issued a summons, I could be taken to jail, and I could have charges filed against me because I had trespassed. At this point, the speed limits are so out of control on 190, I'm ready to do it again and let them take me to court. I was reprimanded for my behaviors. There was no consequence for any of the truck drivers that were running in and out. And I just think that we need to have more visible police work going on in the city. So I just wanted to bring that up, but I really appreciated your clarification. My second concern is our tax bills in the last 5 years have gone up 250%. And we're talking about, oh yeah, they did.
Your tax bill might have if your valuation changed,
Yes.
but our tax rate has not. Your
My
rate has not.
taxes, my bill to the city went up 250%.
Fair enough. That may well be true, I don't know, but I'll.
Anyway. But what I was thinking was that I looked online recently and there are at least 50 Airbnbs in town. And I looked at your suggestion because Rockland has an annual permit fee that is charged to anybody who is running an Airbnb for more than 50% of the year. If they reside in the home for 51%, they are taxed as a normal resident. If they Airbnb that same property for more than 50% of the time, they have to apply annually for a permit. So it's not what we were concerned with saying, oh, we're going to put you in a different tax structure. It's an annual fee for the right for them to run this Airbnb, which is preventing people from actually buying homes and living in the city. And one of them was going for $415 a night. And I just thought that if we could set up, and I wanted to put this out before council, some kind of annual permit fee for these B&Bs that are being used more than 50% of the time, it might not make a huge difference in the budget, but if we charge them $1,000 a year for their permit, That's $50,000 we could be putting into the city budget. And I know it doesn't make a big dent, but it's sure better than nothing. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Victoria was next.
Yep. Victoria Gaines. On the airport, just a quick update, they put in our taxi lane today, or yesterday. So the taxi lane is now there, and that allows us to put 6 hangars off that taxi lane and move those hangars that are in the central part of the airport out of the way, so that we can pave all of that area so that planes can come in and turn around more easily. They don't have these things, and they don't have buildings constricting where they can go. So that's a part of our 5-year plan for moving the airport forward. And that was step number 2, really, behind the new building. Our PALS flights are still running beautifully, so that's a good thing. Speaking of committees, not Rhonda. Speaking of...
You don't want me, Victoria? What?
Yes, I do. Would the council consider appointing a deer committee again to assess our deer population and possibly another special hunt to bring that population down a little bit? We hear a lot of complaints around the area that the deer are out of control, they're eating everything, and we don't want them to get sick and be so overpopulated that they become ill and just start dropping dead in the middle of our lawns. So that would be my suggestion to council.
I don't think the deer committee was dissolved.
No,
It was on our list.
it's still.
So I know we've done this before. I don't know what the process is. I know you got to go to DIFW, right, and something else. I mean, again, my question is going to be: do you require a committee, or is this just about reaching out to the right agency?
The wardens.
There is an existing committee.
Chris
right?
Bartlett's got
Yes.
the information.
Yes, Chris Bartlett.
Okay, I'll talk with Chris and find out what's going on there. I certainly.
It's a good
I have
idea.
a question though, can you get a police report of all the deer accidents? Because there was
Deer strikes,
two
Sure.
dead on the side of the airport the other day.
Yeah, yeah.
There was 2 out where I bike out by, just past Cook and Goodles too.
Yeah.
I haven't hit any this month.
Yeah. I will say, obviously, if someone just hit the thing and it dies, there won't be a report on it unless they stop. But we can see anything. I'm sure we can pull that. And yeah, I actually had to stop to keep from hitting one on my bike. That would have done me more damage than the deer, so I was not happy. Yeah, just stood there looking at me.
I think that's a good
I had one run in my car last night.
I
Really?
wanted to ask if you could
Good,
put
getting
on,
aggressive.
is it Glenn that's going to be doing the flights, like flight taxi, I think he's going to call it. Is it Glenn?
The fellow from Shofar?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know, I forget his first name, I'm sorry. I don't-
Glenn, you're right.
Is it Glenn?
It's Glenn.
Okay. When he's completed his CFI, I don't know if he's completed CFI training yet. He has to have his certified flight instructor training completed before he can start doing flight lessons.
Right.
Yes, that is all in the
lessons,
works
right.
through that Bangor company.
But they're going to have like sightseeing tours, isn't he?
I don't know about the sightseeing tours.
Oh, he was in the other day and mentioned it, so he's going to have flyers and stuff.
But I did have somebody else come out to the airport that actually was a part of the charter service that they had here years ago in Eastport. And he's looking for a 153 designated company that has airplanes that would be able to reinstate some type of charters and sightseeing tours and things of that nature. So it's really going to be a big thing to get our apron expanded, and to part of that apron expansion is also to move the tie-down areas away from the fuel farm a little bit more, because that way we can handle, we're never going to be Teterboro, but we will be able to handle a little bit more traffic, and planes will be able to taxi in more safely to get to the fuel farm, to be able to turn around and to be able to get out. So these are big things over the next 2-3 years that are coming. That's all I have.
Anyone else from the audience?
Richard Adams. I have a problem with the city recognizing veterans of this town. I brought up early part of the year about the memorial down at the library. And there was thrown in garbage out at City Hall because it was rotted out. With no respect to the veterans that were listed there, people that served in World War II, World War I are listed on that plaque. Now, I would like to take the time to rebuild the plaque myself. If I could get the names of the ones that were on there. The other thing is, for the second time, I went down to register my vehicle, and I'm questioned about being a veteran and having veterans plate on my car. They said that I can only have one on one car. I can't have two or three. Well, the state's in the state of Maine, and I can have three.
Okay.
I went in to City Hall the other day, just day before yesterday, to register my car. There seems to be a mistake on the registration from last year, which I don't do.
Okay.
City Hall does it. They said, I'm not a veteran. It says on the registration, I'm not a veteran.
Oh. Well,
I said, I've had the veterans plate on there for 5 years since I had the vehicle. I just feel that the veterans are pushed aside from the city of Eastport.
well, I can't speak directly. Do come into City Hall, we'll talk about what's going on with your registration. As you're aware, as anyone else, we are, all of us, learning how to do it right.
I understand that.
That might be the problem. And if there's an error from last year, it can certainly be fixed, but it probably requires talking to the state and going
It's
back.
been fixed.
Oh, it has been, okay.
But I looked at the registration from the year before, and the or the BT that was not supposed to be on there was on the old one. The one from last year had a different code. So they questioned me about it, because I don't have a veteran's plate on the car.
Well,
I wouldn't go in and say I'm a veteran if I wasn't a veteran.
understood.
I'm not gaining anything from it.
Yeah, understood. I don't know how, I honestly, knowing what I know about the system, don't know how they could have changed your plate type on you. That's a big mistake.
Well, we had to come in and help the girl that was,
Yeah, Hannah's there.
they were talking back and forth. By the way, it took me 45 minutes to get my registration.
Some of them take that long. We are learning, and you know how many different plates this state issues? So they all have different rules, and that's part of what's going on as we're still
So
learning.
we could come in and went down the screen there and put in the white code. So it was taken care of, but the respect of a veteran in the city is not right.
I will look into what's going on with the plaque. We did talk about the condition of it. I didn't think we had gotten rid of it, so I will see what's going on with that. I know, because we talked about the nameplates on there, but we talked about how they were very, very difficult to read, that they would need to be redone too. But that was where I had left it, so I'll have to follow up on that.
They are out at the city garage.
Well, you said you thought it wasn't, so now I need to go and check, but I didn't think we disposed of it. I thought we were holding on to it. We didn't think we could do anything with it, but I will double check on that.
And if it gets fixed, where are you hoping to put it? I'm assuming in a public place. Do you want it back at the library where it was?
I don't know if they accept it there.
Right, that's a secondary question.
I run the Eastport Cemetery. I would be honored for it to come up to the cemetery and put it on the hill.
And I think first we got to find it, then we got to build another one, and then we can find a place to put it. I guarantee you we can solve this problem.
If I had help to do it, you know, I mean, I'd gladly spend time on it this winter.
You got to ask that person for help.
There's going to be
They
a
don't
way.
have to.
I mean, it's something that should be there.
All right, I'll
Agreed.
look into where we are with it, and thank you.
Further comments from the public?
So, this is Victoria again. So on the Deer Committee, you think the committee is still,
It has not been dissolved.
it's not been dissolved?
We don't know who's on it.
Need to, I know.
I was told I was going to contact Chris, that's why I looked at it. I'm going to contact Chris Bartlett and go from there.
Okay, because I think Walter and my husband were in it as well.
All right.
I think there were one or two other
Well,
There's a
It in and out.
we'll all be in touch.
All right, thank you.
I think it was only active for the 3 years of the active hunt. And then it just kind of hasn't had a meeting since.
All right. I may
You're
have to-
lucky I forgot about it.
I may have to come back and ask you just to renominate people, because Ella did go back, was going back and went through all the stuff on the committee, so I tried to clear stuff up. She didn't get all the way back to the Deer Committee or have it together. I'm perfectly happy if you guys can self-identify and bring it to you. We'll go from there. All right.
Further comments from the public? Hearing none, we'll close item 10. Item 11 is executive session.
7:41, I move to go into executive session for personal matters, Title I, MRSA 4056A, for real estate property or economic development, Title I, MRSA 4056C, in consultation with legal counsel, Title I, MRSA 4056E.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Colleen seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please indicate. Yes,
I'll punch you right here.
thank you.
I don't care if there are witnesses.
Our first item will
We gotta-
involve having
yeah.
a stick. Okay, Billy, we can start.
I need a motion to come out of executive session, please.
8:11, I make a motion to come out of executive session.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please indicate.
I'm sorry, that's Rhonda and Colleen?
Any action from executive session?
There was none.
Hearing none. On item 12.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify. Thank you. Closed.